So today, I want to take you through what the expectations are for the front squat and just the squatting movement in general. So the first thing that we need to address is the stance. Essentially, we want feet slightly wider than hip width apart. We definitely don't want to be out too wide, and we don't want to be too narrow. We're just going to start here. Feet, we're going to go ahead and turn around just slightly. I'd say like on a clock, you're looking at about a 1 and 11 o'clock. Definitely don't want to go too far out wide, but we're just going to go a nice conservative turn out. From there, the things that you want to be thinking about, first and foremost, we want to go ahead and make the first move being a hip hinge back. So we're just going to push our butt back just a little bit. From there, we're going to drop and descend into our squat. I like to go hands behind the head, that way we can keep our elbows up, and if you look, this resembles the actual front rack position of a front squat. So we're here. From there, a nice deep breath in through the stomach. Push our hips back and down as we descend, pushing the knees outside, making room for our upper body, driving back to the top. Again, it'll look just like this. We also see valgus knee collapse. What that really just means that those knees are actually tracking inward on the squat as opposed to staying out in line with the toe or slightly outside of the toe. So the squat will look a little something like this. The athlete will come down, knees will come in as they start, or more common what you might see is an athlete that does a really good job of getting down into the squat, but as they come up, those knees they dive in. That's the first movement, and then they stand up. Very stressful on the knee. Especially on the passive structures on the knee, meaning we're looking at the ligaments within the knee itself. Definitely don't want to put any stress there as far as adding load on top of that dysfunction. So a couple things we can do. First of all, we can cue the athlete verbally, or you can think in your head. You could be thinking knees out, knees out. Something else you could do is add a resistance band that's actually going to come up over the legs and outside the knees. That resistive force that's actually going to pull them more into that valgus knee position is going to have to force them to apply resistance against it, causing them to push their knees out. And something else that I like to maybe use that's a little more simpler than that, and it actually is going to cross over a lot of different areas of the squat and provide kind of a solid base, is in that start position when they get set at the very top. They got those feet, they're a little wider than hip width, toes are slightly turned out. What I want them to do is try to create a little bit of torque in their hips or create some tension in their lower body before they start. So not only taking a deep breath, but now also thinking about screwing their feet into the floor before they even start. Their feet are not going to literally turn, but against the floor they're going to turn out. The knees are going to give a little bit of this outside movement. So you can see here, a little bit of torque here to bring the knees out in the start position. They'll feel some tension in their hips, which is what we want them to feel. They might even have their glutes fire up just a little bit. They're going to descend down into their squat. Now they'll lose that tension as they go down, but that's going to reinforce this is where we want this is what we want to feel as we descend into the squat and really get in that bottom position before we come up. Once we've mastered the bodyweight squat and the athlete's shown that they have some competency in the movement, we're going to progress and go ahead and go into a front rack position. Now, depending on your weight room and the facilities that you have, or how many athletes you have in the room, if this is in a team setting, you may not be able to actually go with a full-blown goblet squat with a dumbbell where we're holding it end over end that you would traditionally see, but we could very easily go with a plate-loaded squat because that weight is actually going to try to pull them down into that chest down position. They're going to have to fight it by using really the entire trunk to hold themselves up. So we'll grab the plate, hold it up top, keep it up against the body. I would actually put the plate up against the collarbone or the lower region of the throat. Get into our squat stance, feet slightly wider than hip width apart, toes pointed out just a little bit, about 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Nice deep breath in. Descend, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, drive back up. Now tempos may vary as we go into our goblet squat. We can actually just do a normal tempo. Down, pause, back up. The initial loading and the initial tempos that are within the program oftentimes for me call for slower tempos to try to really not only learn the squat as best as we possibly can and as efficiently as we can, but also challenge the nervous system to try to adapt as quickly as possible.